Samuel L. Jackson's speech, the reason I think it ends the movie and him talking about trying to be the shepherd, trying to be your brother's keeper and escort him out of the tyranny of evil men. It's like, oh, that's literally what Butch just did in the earlier sequence with Marcellus. Yep. It's what John Travolta is doing with Uma Thurman.
And it's what Samuel L. Jackson is doing with Tim
Roth. Yeah.
With funny, chunky.
With Pumpkin and Honey Bunny. And just letting it wash over me. Like I kind of teared up when he finally says, I'm trying to be the shepherd, in the way he puts his gun away. It was like, I've never read the scene like this. I've always just like, it's like he even says, these are just words. I just pick these words because they're cool.
Right.
And that's always how I've read the movie. But now I'm like thinking about it, and like there's way more going on in this movie than I ever realized for a movie that I've always loved.
Because it's there's just so much to look at that it's so stylized. You can forget there's a message. But yeah, when you framed it like that, I'm like, well, I feel like I'm watching it for the first time. Only I know every fucking word.
That's why it's my favorite from him.
Yeah.
Because you can watch this movie two different ways. You can watch it just for the style.
Yeah.
And watch it for how it's being played to you and not even try to go chronological order with it. Or you can look at it as being a redemption story, which is the biggest theme for me.
I was thinking that too, because throughout the movie, it's like coincidence or bad luck or good luck, just random things drop into these people's lives, and what ultimately defines them is how they react to them.
You think so. But once you framed my mind around this new way of looking at it, you realize it's hubris that puts people in these situations where they could have just kept going on with their life, but they make that one little, no, let me do the bad thing, and I'll get to that when we get to it.
All right, we'll get to it.
Let's go.
Royale with cheese.
The Royale.
This taught me the metric system.
And I love that, like, I think that it's not actually called a Royale with cheese.
Damn it!
There's so many things like that where you're like, that sounds so true. It's not. It's totally made up. Even like giving somebody an adrenaline shot in the heart. That's not actually what you should do.
That's dangerous that's not true. I would have done it to you as soon as you drop dead, Matt. I have one in the freezer.
Just waiting
just in
for
case.
It.
I want to go through that breastplate.
In case of emergencies.
That needle was this long. You know how tiny Uma is? That thing would have pinned her to the fucking carpet.
It's true, yeah. She's like, she's trying to get up, but she can't.
Say something, get me off the floor.
You got carpet in me.
Yeah, right.
Lacey was saying she thinks that Travolta's character, that Vincent, he is like kind of putting on an act, or he's like, it's kind of like a simulated personality. He's got this voice. And I think that's like, I think everybody in the movie is kind of doing that. Even Samuel L. Jackson.
This is
he's
their
like,
hard
I'm
look.
adopting my very scary persona.
You have to look at and the industry they're in. I mean,
but like with Reservoir Dogs, like Tarantino's idea is like, if we see these scary hardened criminals and then hear what they talk about while they're on their way to do their crimes,
Madonna.
You'd find they're just like us. They have very eloquent conversations about foot massages and royales with cheese.
Yeah.
It's that they're everyday conversations that make them so good. It's that they're shooting the shit right before they go into the apartment to kill several people. That's chilling about it and humanizing. It's like at the end of the day, we're all just doing a job.
Yeah, it is just a job. Yeah, they go up to the door and they're like, we're like 3 minutes in.
Yeah,
we don't want to be rude.
Let's go stand
back
on. Lacey's
Let him
spot
eat
on.
his
Like Vince
burger.
and Jules are getting humanized through dialogue. Like they're talking about
the whole
drug
time.
laws in Amsterdam. They're talking about what quarter pounders are called in Paris. They're talking about the overall degree of sexual intimacy when it comes to a foot massage. Like they're talking about all these different things. Which, by the way, how do y'all feel about that foot massage deal? Like, should somebody get thrown off the balcony or not?
I think if I had to touch somebody's feet, I would hope that happens to me.
He would like kill me now.
Yeah. I agree with that statement. I'm with Matt 100%. If I got to touch him, I'm throwing myself off. But
I'm not rubbing feet unless I love the person, and if that doesn't have to be sexual, but I've got to love the person. I'm not just rubbing feet.
Look,
it's an act of love.
My mama don't even get that kind of love from me, so and I love her to death.
We never find out if it's true though. Like it's a rumor based on what Mia says, and like I'm like I like how it's
I believe her. That she didn't get a foot massage.
That we're believing what Mia wants to believe about herself. She decided to marry a man like Marcelo Wallace. So there's always some. It'd be interesting to find out her backstory, right? She's not totally innocent. She's getting along and getting around in the world that she finds herself in, and I think that she is immediately a flirt with in the most charming fucking way. Yeah. But they didn't have to have any chemistry. It didn't have to be a good date. She pushed that. It was her in the affect. It was in the daddy yo and don't be a square. We're gonna dance, motherfucker. Yep. You know, I mean, she knew what she was doing.
Which means she definitely set that other man up. She set him up.
That man definitely rubbed some feet.
I always took her at her word, but yeah, you guys are all making a compelling
Tarantino
case.
Needs it to be true.
Well, okay. There's less feet stuff in this. There's less foot stuff in this movie than I remembered.
But there's foot talk.
There's foot talk.
Oh, but there is a foot talk, Kevin. Let's look into that.
Foot talk. Where you at? But you see, like these sort of verbal motifs that'll recur throughout the movie where like they're talking about a foot massage. Is that a sexual act? It's like, no, it's not in the same ballpark. It's not even the same sport. Like just debating whether something is this or it's that. And it's like another thing, they're talking about Tony Rocky Horror and they're like, he's fat. I wouldn't say he's fat, but he has a weight problem. Like everything is like, you're just using a synonym, the exact same word to describe it.
All about lenses.
And I think that's also, I mean, when you think about it, it's reflective of all the characters that we're seeing, right? Because the whole time through this film, every character in there is, you can say they're not good people. Nobody like the only one I think you can kind of write off as a good person is Fabian, to be honest. Fabian, and then maybe Butch, but when you first meet him, he's taking money to do a dive,
right.
So. I mean, I think it kind of mirrors it's kind of priming us as we're watching the movie to make our decisions about all the characters that we see, which I think also makes it even more important when you get to the last scene of the movie, and it's Jules telling everybody, truthfully, I'm the evil of man, but I'm trying real fucking hard to be the shepherd.
I love that part.
And that's a good point because yeah, you are looking at these people who you'd say like these are bad people, they're doing bad things, but they're all like suffering moral dilemmas within the worlds that they live in. Because like John Travolta says, like I can't have sex with Mia Wallace. This is a moral moral dilemma I'm in here. And it's like, well, you kill people, so like, but it's like that feels like a more real moral dilemma to him. Yeah. Butch kills a man in the ring and then says, I don't feel bad about it at all. Yeah. But then he can't turn away from Marcellus, even though he literally goes from trying to kill him to then now I know what he's going through. I won't be able to live with myself if I let it happen to him.
That is because Butch thinks of the man in the ring as someone in his war. For Butch, that is his war. He was the one person in the generations of the watch that didn't get to fight for that watch. Yeah. And that is why he wakes up from that dream and decides to not throw the fight.
Yeah.
That is why.
Oh, shit. I didn't even commit to that.
Stick around, Isaiah. Jeez. It gets real crazy in here.
No, yeah, you have to go find your fight. Your fight. Because that's what a man is. A man fights.
He's on the battle. He's on opposing sides until he gets thrown in POW camp. That is that dungeon. And then all of a sudden he's on the same side as right. That's why it's all very art of war and all that stuff.
So they go into the apartment and they're eating Big Kahuna cheeseburger.
I wish it were real.
And it's like, I mean, it's just one of the great scenes in movie history.
Your tasty beverage?
Just him enunciating of the tasty burger. And it's terrifing and hilarious.
So terrifying. And you don't know what Vincent is doing until you see him smoke the cigarette and you're like, what has he been fiddling with? Is he building a bomb? What is he? Why doesn't he talk?
And you realize like they've done this so many times. Vincent is so bored with Jules's his speech, and he's like Vincent doesn't need to say, like, we don't need to say anything, we can just go in and kill them. You're literally just doing this to entertain yourself.
You gotta do something.
Well, everybody has to make their job entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why doctors wear fun scrubs. You just opening a heart.
Or that's when you work at TGI Fridays, you gotta wear some flair.
You go there for the flair, Matt. You sign up for that job, you better be into flair.
I agree.
Don't get me started.
I agree.
I don't want to hear complaints about the flare.
The briefcase, it has the 666 lock. It has the glowing orange. I think this is just like a tribute to like just classic mystery stories. Like we're all after something. What is that thing? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It glows.
It glows orange. It's gold. It's it's a portal to another dimension. It doesn't matter.
And it somehow means just as much to every single person that sees it.
Yeah, that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
Is even Tim Roth knows what it is.
So I wonder if I just like this, with the 666 being the log. I just always thought it's the root of all the evil, all the problems.
Oh, you fucking smart.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the root. Like, it's the root plot point to everyone's issues, so to speak.
It's the ring.
Yeah.
It's what makes them evil, right?
Lacey, have you heard the big fan theory though on what it is? What's a briefcase?
Give it to me.
So basically, the
Kevin.
briefcase, people are saying that, well, the whole story, it was supposed to be diamonds in the first place. Tarantino originally wanted to be diamonds, but he thought it was too basic, so he decided to just leave it a mystery. And so he ended up putting that orange light bulb in there, and that's when it glows when we see it. But now people are saying that the briefcase holds Marcellus's soul, and that he sold his soul to the devil in exchange for the position of being the highest ranking mob boss. And the evidence to support that theory is supposed to be the scar on the back of his head with the Band-Aid on the back of his head. It's supposed to be...
I was trying to track the scar the whole time. The beast, the mark of the beast.
His soul was taken out. And to support that theory, in Chinese culture, they say that the soul is removed from the back of the head. So that, on top of the combination lock of 666, they're saying that that's his soul in there. He sold his soul.
I love this.
And this is actually all in the Pixar universe.
Shut up. I love this, except for that it undercuts that there's that a person like him could have rose to the top. So I don't like that, because I think he shows his cunning every step of the way. I think he seems exactly like the kind of person that could rise to the top. He makes tough decisions. Yeah. I don't buy it.
Fan theories. I say.
All right. Yeah.
Non-canonical.
So he reads his passage, a Bible passage, Ezekiel 25:17. I always thought that this was a made up passage, but it seems pretty connected to a real passage. Like, it's a little differently worded, but it is a real, basically.
You gotta buy the Trump Bible, Matt. Duh.
Right there. Strictly for that scene. I was like, oh man, I gotta
Lacey, you on it.
Thank you, Jay.
I always thought it was like Royale with cheese. Like, yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah.
Never bothered to look it up.
I'm glad you told me about the shot. When our kid turns 15, starts getting all crazy on drugs, I could have pinned him to the carpet.
Now we're gonna have to take a class or something. Yeah.
Shit.
You gotta take a real class. You can't just go with that.
So yeah, this is just one of the great movie scenes. I don't know. It's gonna be boring me saying like, and this is also great. This is also great.
Did y'all know that fucking
Jerry Seinfeld
is in this scene? I'm kidding.
No, the guy does look like
he does. Yeah.
I just referred to him as Jerry Seinfeld in my notes. But yeah, he runs out of the bathroom and starts shooting at them, and I just love Samuel L. Jackson's face, like, as he's taking in the fact that he just unloaded and didn't hit them at all. But you can already see it in his face. Like, he is experiencing this differently than Vincent is. Like, something really, really crazy and profound is happening.
And I love his point about it doesn't matter if it's true. It matters is that I felt
Yes.
It made me want to stop being this person when I never thought to stop being this person before. And that really is all that. It's a moment of clarity. It really is how people stop doing drugs, how people get out of relationships, how people quit their jobs that they hate. It's just a moment where you know that you aren't the person you were that moment ago.
Yeah.
No, I like that, because he points that out. Like,
yes,
whether this is divine intervention or not, it almost
said that
doesn't matter, because I'm going to act as if it is. And in so doing, he saves Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer's lives.
Right.
So, like, even if he reverts back to being who he was, which I suspect is what he's going to do, he's going to forget about this revelation, and he's not going to stop killing people. He saved these people. But I've been in the situation where somebody is reacting to something super big and they're like, don't you just think it's crazy? And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And they just want more out of me than I'm willing to give.
I need to take a shit.
And then, they're in the car. More bad luck as
Look at
Vincent accidentally shoots Marvin in the face.
That's the most Travolta face. And I love that Vincent's such a child. Like, he seems like such a badass until he's with a real adult, like the wolf and like fucking Jules. And he's so petty. He just wants what he wants, and he wants his things, and tell me something nice. And it's
don't yell at me.
It's all about her framing. It just depends on who you put him with. He completely shape shifts, but he's that person all the time. Mm-hmm. I love it.
accidentally shoots Marvin in the face. I realized this is the same thing that happens with Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It also happens with a cat in Boondock Saints.
Okay, well, there you go.
There you go.
Lots of accidental shootings.
How do you guys feel about Tarantino inserting himself into his movies?
I'm not a fan of it personally.
I'm not either.
I'm like, just get somebody else to do that role, please.
He wanted to be an actor. That was the first thing he wanted to do was be an actor.
Well, I think he was trying to get somebody to. He wanted this scene. He wanted somebody else to do this scene, but nobody else would do it. So he's like, "Well, I'm gonna say it." Basically.
Oh, really?
Like,
Is it because of the dialogue?
Probably.
He's like, "All right, well, I wrote it. I'm doing it." So
I remembered it being twice, not 6 times.
But even as I say, I think even in his performance, this guy too is putting on an act. Like when he says something like, he says the word ain't, and he says it enunciates it in such a certain way that you're like, you two are just putting on this. I'm a badass. I'm hard. I'm harsh. Which is why I think he's saying what he's saying. Mm-hmm. But it is funny. I do like the way Jules is like trying to diffuse it with just his Samuel L. Jackson charm, praising his coffee and stuff, and it's just not working at all. And he's like, usually this works when I do my thing.
Because usually you're about to kill someone. You don't have the power here. He has the power here. There's a complete power shift where just a moment ago you guys had all the control in the car, and just like that. Okay,
they're back at Hawthorne Diner, a real restaurant in California. Jules explains he doesn't eat pork because it's a filthy animal, and Vincent's like, is a dog a filthy animal? He's like, well, I wouldn't go so far as to call it filthy, but it's dirty.
It's got personality. It goes a long way.
Again, this is just it's just words that kind of don't mean anything. It's all just the way we say them and the attitude we have when we say it.
How convincing are we in that moment?
And Jules is like, he's like really taking seriously this divine intervention thing. But I also think he's trying to troll Vince a little bit. Because he's like, if my answers frighten you, you should try asking different questions.
He's a deep guy, though. I would have so many beers with him. He just thinks in such an interesting way, and I think Vince is just a little too simple for him.
But then, the movie suddenly like, oh right, the beginning of the movie happens, and Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer jump up.
That's a diner song, right? It doesn't matter. All right, so now. Okay.
Yeah, it is actually. You're right. Yes.
Thank you.
We finally get to my favorite character in the movie, the manager. No, sir, I am not a hero, sir. No, we will cooperate. Oh yeah. And I love Amanda Plummer. I love when Jules now turns it on them, holds the gun at Tim Roth, and she is trembling, and she doesn't know where to point the gun. She's terrified, but she's still determined.
Yes. They are very in love.
Yeah. Yes. There's another sweet couple.
It's pretty cool.
But I like kind of how gentle Jules is with her, even as he's shouting at her. He's like, you're doing great, baby. This is almost over.
I love that. And I love that it really does end. And then they hug each other in relief and have so many wallets. That's so nice for them. But all I ever...
As they walk out with the bag of wallets.
But all I ever think about in these situations is we have a nonverbal, very verbal 8-year-old with autism. If we were told to be quiet in a restaurant, they'd just shoot us. Like, I can never think...
There's nothing we can do.
Not everybody can be quiet, sir. All right, go on.
I guess we've already talked about the scene a lot.
It's the scene.
In the script, they wrote it so that we would see Jules shoot Honey Bunny and Pumpkin dead, and then cut to reality. Like you see his vision first. Like normally, I would be killing them, and then find out that he didn't kill them. Yeah,
it's not that kind of movie.
Samuel L. Jackson says he wished they had kept that in the movie. I don't know if I like that or not.
No, because we don't have any like dream sequences except for Butch with the watch, but like. It would be playing with the reality of the movie, which we have not come to expect, that people are fantasizing and making us think something's real. That's like, oh, it was all a dream. Fuck you. I don't like that. So I say no. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Me too. For those same reasons.
So I think I agree. However, I do see a way that it would work for me. But you would have to sacrifice part of the monologue.
And the heart.
You would have to sacrifice the back part of the monologue where he starts to explain what it means for him. It can't be, you can't have him imagine shooting them, and it looks to us as the audience as it's real. Like if it was me, I'd have them shot, and you do it from first person too. It would be from first person. You would see Eli Roth's head explode,
Marvin.
followed by Amanda's face, chest get blown in. Then I would turn it back around, and it would start like it would kind of zoom out from the pupil of his eye, of Jules's eye, to see his face and his recollection. He would then just skip to the giving them the $1,000 and let them walk out.
And you mean Tim Roth?
That's the Tim Roth. Yeah, sorry.
I confuse them all the time.
Sorry, Sorry, Eli Roth did not.
I'll let him know. My name's Lacey Roth, so I'll let him know. We all know each other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's a good point, Isaiah, because he walks you through it, and you don't need to see it because he walks you through what he's feeling in that moment. I'm trying very hard to give you a second chance, and maybe they give up the life of crime now. Who knows? That's another sequel we should get to see is what these two are up to. But I just love it so much.
And also, and I'd also like to know, like, thinking about how we've talked back and forth about the difference between the maturity level of Vince and Jules. It's knowing that Jules is about to get shot after this, like sometime after this incident. I wonder what Jules's reaction and feeling toward that is.
What does he see when he sees this?
Like, is this I knew that was coming? Like, he earned that after the discussions they've had throughout the day? You know what I'm saying? Is he any bit remorseful? Or is that what brings him, like, because Matt, you even alluded earlier, I think that he would probably come back to being possibly that he wouldn't, this epiphany would eventually fade from his mind and he'd be back to being a killer. But is that what does it for him? Are they close enough?
Yeah, I don't know.
that makes
he likes him. He likes him a lot. But yeah, epiphanies usually wear off. That's why I say that. Yeah.
The reality of walking the earth will hit you.
Yes. I even think he's kidding about that. I don't think he means that part.
I think he just means he doesn't have a plan, but that he doesn't want it to be this anymore. And that is so... When you're constantly convincing yourself that it's okay to do what it is that you do for a living, for someone like Vincent, this would be the most fuck you. Fuck you for saying that this is bad and that I shouldn't do it anymore. I'm not ready to not do it anymore. Do you know how big of a heroin habit I have? I'm not going to go be a CVS clerk, asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, his options are a little more
skill set.
limited.
I don't see a kindergarten cop movie coming from this. Or Vincent, he's fish out of water.
So this was the first time I watched the movie and sort of experiences, like, I think this is all kind of Jules's story and the journey he's going on. And you see the journey he goes on through other characters, but ultimately the reason the movie ends with him ending in this place is because that's what it's all been about. So it's like, I've always seen it. I've always, like, he got nominated for best supporting actor instead of lead actor, but it's like he's the lead of the movie. This is kind of his story. It's an ensemble, but it's his story.
I love that.
Yeah, no, that's very fair.